All right, welcome in the NBA Tip-Off Show powered by WagerTalk.com. We got a 7-game slate here tonight. We got a couple of games we're going to isolate for you, break down, especially on the late slate here tonight. We're going to do it with the one, the only Mr. Red Hot Rob Vino in the house, ready to roll on this NBA slate on this Monday, the final Monday of 2024. Keep that in mind here. And I think, Vino, a pretty good place to start would be out west with a couple of late games. Let's start first and foremost with your Sixers taking on the Portland Trailblazers. We're seeing 6.5s now. We're seeing the total come down a little bit. 222 is what I am seeing at this point. The Sixers, Embiid was questionable. I guess he's always going to be questionable here, but Portland all of a sudden putting together a couple of decent games here, scoring a lot of points. Do you agree with the move to the under? And should the Sixers be laying this many points on the road, Vino?
Well, I think we know the reason for both, right? And you said it off the bat. It's going to be Joel Embiid. As long as there's a question mark next to his name, the total is going to come down and Philly's price is going to go down a little bit. Other than that, I'm going to go on the assumption, Joe, that Joel Embiid does play in this game. Really nothing wrong with him. So I would venture to say he plays. And with Portland, what I find is that they're so erratic when it comes to scoring the basketball that you can't trust them to score 3 games in a row. You know what I mean? It's just like they play in the 90s, then they go to 120, then they go back to that. Just not a consistent offensive group. I think Philadelphia, for what it's worth, since George has been back in the lineup a little bit, since Joel has played a couple of games, there seems to be a little bit more cohesiveness, camaraderie, so to speak. It's interesting. I was talking to somebody who's close to the Sixers yesterday or the day before, and the demonstrative actions of Joel Embiid taking on the female referee a couple of nights ago, celebrating 3-pointers like he just won the world championship. It's not like him. But I think in talking to this guy, he said there's a little bit of an anger, a little chip on Embiid's shoulder right now. I think that all goes away if they win a little winning streak and a couple of 30-point performances out of him. And all of a sudden, Philly will be back to being Philly. We kind of saw it on Christmas Day when they went out and beat Boston. So my lean here, like I said, I'm going under the assumption that Embiid's going to play. My lean here is towards Philadelphia. And I would also lean towards maybe a Portland team total under. I just don't trust them, Joe, to go out and put up points again. So best recommendation, I think, would be Philly. Second lean would be towards Portland team total under.
All right, good stuff there with Philly taking on Portland tonight, 10 o'clock Eastern time in that one. We've seen little movement in the total between Dallas and Sacramento, Vino, but we have seen Sacramento gain a little bit of love in the marketplace. I'm seeing 4s in the market now, opened up at 3. And, of course, the Sacramento Kings they're going through a little bit of a change, aren't they? No more Mike Brown. However, I don't know if do we still do the whole new coach bounce, fired coach thing? Like, what's the deal with Sacramento? Are they going to be any better without Mike Brown that we can trust them here at home to be laying this number?
Well, we're not sure. We're really not sure. I mean, Mike Brown kind of, I think we saw it in Cleveland a little bit. And then we saw it again. He somewhat wears out his welcome, right? He's kind of a guy that can kickstart a program, and then after that, it kind of falls on deaf ears. And maybe that's what happened here in Sacramento. I'm not sure. But certainly they didn't play any defense in their last game. Dallas didn't play any defense. And without Luka on the floor, we've talked about it over the years plenty of times. When Luka's not on the floor, Dallas becomes a quicker tempo team. That 126, 122, we just talked about the Portland high-scoring game. It was against Dallas, 126, 122. I think kind of indicates what we're going to see out of Dallas while Luka's not available. And 132, 122 against the Lakers the other night, it kind of indicates what Sacramento's been all season long. Not real strong on the defensive end, not real interested on the defensive end. And when they're right, they can score. So I would think this total, Joe, the move is accurate. I think it's a game that probably deserves more than a quick look as far as over is concerned. I think you probably make 230 plus here. Just styles of play, amount of opportunities you're going to get. I think the other night, Sacramento, I had in my notes, put up 98 shots or something in that game, almost 100 shots. And I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas runs right with them. So as far as whether they win or lose, we'll have to see how they take to the new coaching change. I don't know how this is going to go, but I do think that they'll be consistently quick tempo and consistently poor defensively. So for me, it would be over in that game.
Over in that battle. That maybe get back to a little Sacramento Kings style basketball there, where we can look at the overs and feel pretty confident about it, taking on the Dallas Mavericks here tonight. And then, of course, the last game on the West Coast there, 10 o'clock tip is the Cavs and the Golden State Warriors. Feel like I saw this game not too long ago, and the Cavs, well, just absolutely smoked the Warriors. They got another crack at them here. Warriors playing about 500 basketball, not great. Meanwhile, the Cavs, 22-9 against the number on the season. They seem healthy. They've got everything working. It's kind of hard to go against them here, is it not? Even laying the 4.5 on the road.
Yeah, I'm with you. And even more than that, I think that the way Cleveland scores, their team total of 117.5 might be a little too light. Golden State came out of the gate this year, Joe, 12-1, put up some pretty good defensive numbers along the way. And those numbers, when you look at overall, they continue to kind of stand. So quick glance, you would say they're a pretty good defensive team. They're really not. They haven't played good defense in a while. And worse than that, they haven't played great offense, consistent offense in a long while. So I don't know that they can match what Cleveland can put up. I think that when you go to Golden State, it's still considered one of those, let's say, circle or target type games. Everybody wants to go to Golden State and win. And Cleveland right now just has so much ammunition. I don't know that Golden State can stop it. In the beginning of the season, it looked like Golden State had depth and they were going to be able to maintain some type of scoring consistency. Just hasn't happened. I don't know that they can keep up, but I do think that you probably have to zero in on just Cleveland here. They're the team that's given you basically the same effort every single night. And to me, 117.5 seems a little bit too light. Golden State, real quick, just to add something fundamental here, Joe, for those who watch enough of them, they don't seem to really know or don't seem to really play the same tempo every game. Like they can be forced fast, which I think Cleveland will do, and then they can go kind of deliberate, which I've seen them do. And I don't think they're good enough to control how quickly or how slowly the game is played. I think Cleveland will do that here. They've definitely got the interior to outmatch Golden State. And whenever you're talking about the Cavs, and you have to look at their opponent and just see if they can match Cleveland inside. This team probably can't. Therefore, they might go small ball. We've seen Kerr do it before. I think Cleveland's team total 117.5 is too light. It's one of the first things that I played this morning. So Cleveland over their 117.5, I think, is the right side.
So it feels like a trap line, though, doesn't it? I mean, if you go back to that game in Cleveland, it was back November 8th. Golden State was actually playing pretty well there. Cleveland at home was laying 3.5. Now, Cleveland is much better than they were then, and Golden State is much worse than they were then. It was a blowout then, but now they're only laying 3.5, 4 points here as well. It feels like, what am I missing here? It doesn't feel like the road has been all that bad. Golden State 1-6 against the number in the last 7, and they're not even coming close to covering these games here, Vino.
Yeah, and when you look at Steve Kerr, or I shouldn't say look at Steve Kerr, when you follow what Steve Kerr is doing with rotations and whatnot, it just doesn't look like they're a settled group yet. 1 through 9. Jonathan Kuminga has really become, other than Steph Curry, the go-to guy. And nobody else really helps out on offense. Andrew Wiggins has made a little appearance as of late, and maybe that'll be helpful. The difference or the adjustment in price that you just talked about is about 8 points, right? 3.5 at home, 4.5 on the road, and the 8-point swing to a road favorite. So it is huge as far as movement in the line is concerned. like I say, Golden State has not been good enough offensively, I don't think, to match with Cleveland. And we haven't seen, I could count on one hand, less than one hand, the amount of times where I think Cleveland has shown up in kind of an I don't care or a letdown with a letdown type of performance. Otherwise, they're steady as can be. It seems like they're focused. So, again, I would rather just play one side of this game, and that side is Cleveland up and over their team total. If Golden State can outscore them, good for them.
God bless. I'm with you. God bless here. It feels like you're begging us to take Cleveland here, Books. We'll see how that rolls out. But I'm with you. I'd much rather deal with the over, especially the team total over in this match, especially since we just watched them drop almost 150 on Denver in Denver. I don't think the road's a problem for Cleveland. All right, so those are your three late games. Really, those are your three late games here tonight in the association, just a 7-team card. Rob's going to drop a best bet for us here. I'm going to tell you about how you can save 25% right now by using that code HOLIDAY25. Take advantage now before we hit midnight on, tomorrow, right? New Year's Eve, guys. Take advantage. Visit Rob Vino's page now. Throw them in your cart. Use that code HOLIDAY25. Save 25% off. Vino continuing to crush it across the board here all month long. Been a hell of a month for you in December here, Vino. Looking forward to that rolling. What do you got tonight here for folks over at your page or WagerTalk?
It's NBA. Monday Night Football still might get up there, Joe. I'm just torn where that game is concerned, but I think I'm going to play. The bigger thing to look forward to is the Tuesday, Wednesday college football. We won a 5% play, our first 5% play of bowl season on Saturday with the Iowa State, Miami, and Florida game over the total, which basically got us there in one half. Thank goodness Cam Ward played that half. We were talking a little bit about that off there. But another 5% coming here from a bowl game and a 5% from the college football playoff. So I think what we want to look forward to here is what's coming, going to be posted within the next 2-3 hours as far as college football is concerned. As you mentioned, been a great run, Joe. Last 30 days, I think it's number one over at WagerTalk. The month of December has been kind in all sports. So we look forward to continuing that run. As for best bet, let's go ahead and look at this card tonight. And, we often talk about if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I don't want to really go against Chicago Bulls and point scoring in games. Play Charlotte tonight. Their team total is 115.5. Again, I've had a lot of success this year just kind of zeroing in on certain teams and certain team totals. For the Bulls, we're looking at 115.5 against a Charlotte team that really is not much of a defensive squad. Remember, they started the season with their new head coach, a former Boston assistant, who said three-pointers and defense, just like the Celtics. That lasted for about 3 games. And then some injuries took place, and then the Charlotte Hornet talent took place, and we find out that Charlotte is no defense, and sometimes we make shots, sometimes we don't. But the Bulls, steady up and down the floor, still the second fastest paced team in the league. Charlotte probably goes with that. So we get an up and down game. I think Chicago, team total over 115.5, probably the best bet on the board.
Love that look, Vino. There you got it, guys. Charlotte tonight, of course, nice little late slate of games as well. Make sure you visit Rob Vino over at WagerTalk.com. Take advantage of that 25% off right now, guys. Holiday25 is the code to use. Partner up with Rob Vino. Let's make it an ass-kicking and profitable end to 2024 as we welcome in 2025. Vino, good luck, man. We'll see you again tomorrow here on the NBA Tip-Off Show.